What up, G Life? It's your boy, it's Shadow, back at you with another video. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. It's free. It don't cost anything. You'll be helping my channel a lot. Get into the algorithm. I'll highly appreciate it. Don't forget to check out the playlist where I have all my videos and no folders. Makes the video you're looking for a lot easier with the reaction, the G series, all that good shit. Don't forget to check out my second channel, Man in Society, where I talk about other stuff outside of the streets. Now, what I wanted to talk about today was actually another one I've been asked for, which is my thoughts on Lil Rob. What are my thoughts on Lil Rob? Obviously, you know, everyone knows who Lil Rob is. He's a Chicano rapper, very popular. If not, I want to say he's probably the most recognizable name when it comes to Chicano rap. You know, although you have great legends like obviously, you know, Kid Frost. You have, you know, obviously, Proper Those, and you have your Capones and Night Owls, and you know, originators out of the game. You know, Lighter Shade of Brown. You know, all of them. You know, Lil Rob is a very, well-known, Chicano rapper. Probably the biggest one. Probably the one that probably had the biggest career. Maybe, he made it onto MTV and BET and radio and all of that, with like Summer Nights and I Want to Bring Out the Freaking You and all kinds of rolas, you know what I'm saying? So he's, very well known, Chicano rapper out of San Diego, the San Diego area. Yesterday I was watching, a channel, one of the YouTube channels, Active War Stories. Go subscribe to his channel. He had made a video about, Lil Rob and an incident that occurred when he went to go do a concert in Stockton. Now, I didn't know this. I thought everyone knew this, but Lil Rob does not belong to a gang. He's not a Southsider. He's not a Sureño. He's not, he never belonged. He never was from a gang. That's why you never see him with a blue rag. You see him with a brown rag. You'll never see him throw up like the S or ever say like the Sud, or he never talks about the Sud or Southside or anything like that, because that's one of the things I respect about Lil Rob. I respect Lil Rob. You know what I mean? I think he's a talented individual. Now, I'm not too much of a fan of his music. He does have some rolas that I like, but I'm not too much of a fan. Not because he's, it's whack or anything like that. It's just not my style. It's more of the, a mellow style, a more romantic and like, laid back kind of style. I kind of like more the aggressive type of rap, the more of the chaotic rap, the straight, gunning and dumping and all. I don't know. That's just the way I am. You know what I mean? I'm more into like the West Coast, gangster, like West Side Connection and all that shit, and his is more of the lenient type. So it's not that, it's because I think it's whack or some shit like that. Nah, it's just not my style, But he does have some rolas that are chingon, and I know in rapping he's very talented when it comes to spitting, rap. He's very gifted. He knows how to do it, and he does it in a unique way. Nobody raps like him. You know what I mean? He has a unique style in how he tells his stories. How he raps them, pues. So he could hold his own. He has rap with, Crooked Eye, The Game, very, we're talking about like West Coast legends. So he's on there with them, you know what I mean? He spit tracks with them vatos. Like if one of them, if you guys want to hear it, is my Lowrider, go check that one out. It has The Game, Crooked Eye, it has all kinds, like 8 vatos in that rola, but Lil Rob is featured in that rola. Anywho, steering off the conversation. So he has gift, right? So every time he rap, that's why he never mentioned the homeboys or whatever. He is a Chicano, you know what I mean? From Southern California, from San Diego. Yes, he did grow up in the ghettos with these individuals. He knows them, stuff like that. But he himself was never a gang member. Now, he does dress like a cholo, but here's the thing that I go back and I tell individuals. The homeboys, the gangsters, the cholos, they adopted the Chicano culture, the Chicano stilo, right? The Ben Davis and the Chris Stubbs and the, you know what I mean? Like they adopted that, but that's not they're not the creators or whatever. Like that's the Chicano culture before there was the barrios. That was their stilo, how they recognize one another before the gangs were actually, in the picture. You know what I'm saying? The oldies and all of that. That's why you see, example, those lowrider car clubs, right? The lowrider car clubs, you see them when you go to the lowrider shows or whatever. All them guys look like they're gang members. Now, some are ex-gang members. Some actually are gang members. But a majority of them guys are not from gangs. A majority of those guys don't gang bang. But you see them in their dickies and their lokes and everything. But they're not from no gang. They just like the low riders and the oldies and all of that, right? And you see them with their low riders. But they themselves are not gang members. But you see them with their long socks and everything. That's the stilo. That's the Chicano stilo. You know what I mean? That's the Chicano stilo. You know what I'm saying? That the gangsters adopted. So it's not like just because they dress like that doesn't make, oh, he's a sureño or whatever. Like, no, you know, they adopted that stilo. But that's not like they say that that's their stilo or whatever. But he dresses in that because he likes that. He likes the oldies. He likes the low riders and everything. You know, so he's like one of those guys from those low rider, those lowrider car clubs, you know what I mean? He just likes the stilo and all of that. But he himself was never a gang member, you know what I mean? That's why you never see him throw up his hood or nothing, you know what I mean? And that's why he never talks about none of that stuff in his music. If you hear his music, it's rare that he, you know, and that goes back to what I said, why I respect Lil Rob. He stays in his lane, bro. You know what I mean? He just does him, doesn't worry about what anybody's, you know, got to say. He doesn't try to act like he's this or that. You know, he is just himself. You know what I'm saying? Hey, that's why you never hear that fool, you know, like talking masa or trying to, you know, go, you know. He's just a guy that's, you know, he's not going to speak on something that he doesn't know or try to pretend that he's something he's not. That's why I respect the individual, you know what I mean? Because he just does him, you know. People clown him, ain't down, whatever. But when did he say he was, though? When did he say he was doing all this and that? And for people to be like, oh, but that fool ain't really with the business, or he ain't really gangster, whatever. But when, you know what I mean? Yeah, a few rolas that he mentions, you know, the gangster, whatever, talking about the, you know, what he sees out here, how these individuals behave, because his friends were gang members, his friends were, you know, in the streets and all of that, and you know, he himself has said when he was younger, he used to hang around with these guys and see everything that was going on. So, you know, like, you know, when his homies would get jumped, you know, he would fight too and everything, but he was never part of the gang. But obviously those were his friends, you know. He gonna back up his friend, and he ended up getting shot in the face, you know, because of that. You know, I don't know if it was a mistaken identity or something like that. Whatever, he got shot in the face. So that's why he got shot in the face, though, but not because he was from a gang or, you know, or stuff like that. You know, I think he might have said that he used to belong to a tagging crew before. I think he had mentioned that he belonged to a tagging crew before, but just graffiti though. Like, he wasn't, like I said, not claiming turf or you know, throwing it up or saying that he's a Southside or whatever. Nah, you know what I mean? He just like the graffiti and stuff like that before. But like I said, he said that when he was a teenager, you know, so when he was younger. But he never, you know, claimed to be a Sureño or a Southsider or that's why you never see him with the shirts or nothing. You'll never see like a 1-3 or Southside or blue on him, bro. You just don't see that on him. That's because, you know, he's not affiliated, you know. And he himself has said that, like, why would he say or claim something that he's not, you know, when he has no affiliation to, you know. But the homies think, they said that when he went to go to a concert in Stockton, that it turned into like a brawl, like, you know, there was whatever, because they thought he was a Southsider, but like I told homie, like, no, he's not a Southsider. He was never a homeboy. And he never claimed to be one either, you know. But I thought people knew that because, you know, you always see him with the brown bandana, and you never see him like mention it or say it. You know what I mean? Like, yes, he's from Southern California. He's from San Diego. You know what I mean? And yes, he's a Chicano guy who likes to, you know, whatever. But like I said, you could be Chicano, hear Chicano rap, you like the low riders and everything, but you don't gangbang. And you could like the stilo and everything, like, but you're not a gang member, and it don't make you a gang member. The difference is knowing that, you know, because there's some guys who could have all of that and then try to act like if they gangster, talking all that rah rah, and, you know, and trying to act like if they were really out there, you know, squeezing triggers and jumping fools and cracking heads, you know what I mean? When they weren't really about none of that. It's just their image, and I think maybe sometimes they get lost in that illusion. Maybe they see themselves in the mirror and they forgot that they weren't really a gangster, so they talking all that gangster stuff. You got to bring them back to life, back to reality. You know what I mean? Like, oh, like, I think we're getting ahead of ourselves, you know? Because sometimes that does happen. You'll be surprised. You got to remind sometimes homies that, hey, my boy, there's homies that kick it with us that, you know, that don't belong to my neighborhood, and sometimes they're like, hey, slow, hold your horses. Remember, you yourself are not from the hood, so relax. Because sometimes they get, you know, ahead of themselves, and you gotta remind them, because, you know, not to say like, you know, if a homie's, you know, really about it or he's not, you know, and it's like you're looking after his safety, like hey bro, you know, like relax, because if shit really cracks down right now, you know, you're not gonna, you know, you're just, you know, looking after his safety, not because he's a punk or whatever. But sometimes just people get lost in that illusion. Like, you don't want to, if you know that they're not really about that life, you don't really want to feed him into it, because then you're going to put him in a situation where potentially he could lose his life, or potentially you know that he's going to throw rat on all of you guys. So why put him in that situation and then expect him to stay as solid as you individuals when he has no, you know, no connection like that towards his life, you know? He didn't make that decision, or is not dedicated like that, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes people just get caught in the moment, or maybe they're intoxicated or whatever. You know, they get the courage sauce, But yeah, he himself never said he was a gang member and stuff like that, you know. So in the streets, you know, he's not, you know, like gang related. But in music wise, has made a lot of CDs, you know what I mean? I think he has more than like 14 albums, you know, if I'm not mistaken. Now, like I said, I was never a fan of his music like that, but I do have some rolas that I fuck with, like Neighborhood Music. I fuck with Summer Nights. Quit Bluffin's another really good one. Quit Bluffin's really, really good. You know, Gangsta's another one that I really like. You know, so he has several of them that I fuck with, dog. That, yeah, those rolas are banging, you know what I mean? The Wicked, you know. So he has rolas that I bummed, you know what I mean? But out of like the 13 CDs, I probably only like 13 songs in total out of his whole entire collection of like maybe 100 songs. But like I said, not because I think he's whack or no. It's just that it's not my style, because it's more mellow and more romantic. And, you know, that's not really my type of music that I like. Now, in oldies is different. I like it in oldies. The difference in oldies is because it's being harmonized, and it's being obviously sung, you know what I mean, instead of being rapped. That's why I dig the oldies, because of the voice, you know, the singing voice, and the harmonization and everything. Like, it just flows so smoothly together compared to rap, you know what I mean? That's why I prefer oldies, when if we're really gonna get those kind of beats and be like on the romantic tip about it. I prefer it that way. I prefer it, you know, hearing it being sung than rap. And that's just my opinion, my preference. It goes back to preference. But yeah, he's, you know, very talented. Now, he does help the raza. He has helped, you know, individuals, you know, plug them in, you know what I'm saying? And he has donated to, you know, his barrio, you know, well, not like where he grew up in, pues, you know what I mean? Like, he has done stuff for the raza. Now, the beautiful thing about, you know, what he does is that he does stuff for the raza, but he's not public about it. Like, he doesn't do it for show or for clout. That's why it mostly goes under the radar. You don't really hear about it unless you really, like, you know, go digging in and shit like that. That you'll see that he has done, you know, some righteous shit for the Brown. You know what I mean? And like I said, never for attention, because, you know, he's not doing it for publicity. You know what I'm saying? And you know, my girl's a fan. You know, my wife, she's a fan of his or whatever. And, you know, we have seen him in concert and shit like that. And how he interacts with his fans también is a toda madre. He's not cocky. He's not like, he doesn't act like he's the shit. You know what I'm saying? You know, he's feeding me. You know, we had met him once in a concert. You know what I mean? Like, it's a toda madre. You know, like I said, you could just tell with just the small conversation we had. You could just tell that the vato is that aquellas. You know what I mean? He's really down to earth, and doesn't think that he, just because I'm, you know, who I am, I think that I'm above you, you have to praise me. You know what I mean? That's how it should be. That's what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? That's why I can't talk nothing bad about the vato. You know what I mean? Like, people could hate him, whatever, because they hate his success or whatever, or you know what I mean? And he never portrayed to be like this and that, for people to be like, well, that fool ain't really even a gangster, whatever. Like, but when did he say he was, though? You know what I mean? He never claimed the barrio. You know what I mean? He never said he was a sueño or none of that. So, overall, I thought people knew that he didn't belong to a gang. You know what I mean? I honestly assumed that everyone knew, but but yeah, overall, talented individual, probably the most successful out of Chicano rap. He does, do stuff for the Brown. He's at gay ass. At least from my like I said, these are just my experiences and my opinions. You may not like him, for your reasons, but I'm just speaking on mine. So overall, like I said, wasn't really a fan of his music, but the individual definitely has skills. You know what I mean? Can't take nothing from it. But that's just my opinion overall on the individual. I'm just saying, F Shadow, we out.